Hey everybody, welcome to your horoscopes for this week. These are the horoscopes for the week ending November 19th, 2016. If you're in America, that's one more week before Thanksgiving, and then it's holiday family time, which is always fun if you celebrate it. Well, we also have a super moon kicking off the week this week. Actually, it's happening today. I'm recording the horoscopes on the day that we kick off this week's horoscope. So the super moon is happening tonight. If you care to go look at it, you probably won't be able to miss it unless you got some cloud cover in your area, because the moon is definitely the closest to the earth it's been in a really long time, and it is going to be a really big full moon. Definitely worth checking out. So go outside and check that out if you can. But we're going to get right to the horoscopes to see what's going to happen for you guys this week. And we're going to start, as we always do, with Aries. Now, Uranus's position in this T-square with Pluto and Jupiter is really kind of a big one. And the moon moving into Cancer later on this week is going to make this a cardinal grand cross for about a day, which takes an already difficult aspect and just makes it a little bit more difficult, if that makes any sense at all. Now, what the difficulty is mainly dealing with old situations that you've had to deal with before, specifically when it comes to the support that you get around building up your finances. Now, everybody has money issues, and everybody has those times when money just doesn't come as easily as it does at other times. And when you feel like you are lacking support in that area, it can be really frustrating. But the good news is Uranus is trine with Saturn is a very positive aspect, because it is actually pointing you in the direction that you need to go in order to create that income. Now, in certain circumstances, of course, we would look at getting money from a job. And in this particular case, as Saturn is sitting in that career position, you're looking at making some more money doing whatever work it is that you're already doing, whether it's getting a promotion or amping something up in that job, so that you're not just doing the one job you've been doing, but you combine multiple jobs together. And as you're doing this, you're making more money, and you find that the support that you need from others is really not needed, because it's all about what you do to make that money, not necessarily what everybody helps you with. So this week, the most important message I can give to you, Rams, is don't let the circumstances get you down. Because the truth is, the more the circumstances get you down, the more you're going to miss the opportunity to make more money and to get the money that you want. And you don't want to miss this opportunity, because it's a darn good one. And whether you have a difficult aspect or not, it does not mean that you can't get past that aspect. You just got to work a little bit harder than you normally would. So you guys have a great week with that. Taurus, we kick off this week with a Taurus full moon, and not just a Taurus full moon, but a Taurus super full moon. And a super moon is nothing more than the proximity of how close the moon is to Earth. Now, today, when we have this full moon, the moon is going to be very close to the Earth, about as close as it can get without causing any damage to the Earth, which means we're going to have a really big, giant, beautiful full moon tonight. So definitely go out there and enjoy it. But a full moon, of course, means an opposition of the moon and the sun, which does create its own challenges and its own difficulties in its own way. When the sun and the moon are in opposition of each other, it does create a little bit of a conflict between the head and the heart. And for Tauruses, this is very much a difficult thing, because the head wants to take over, and it kind of sort of feels like it's beating up on the heart, if that makes sense. Now, specifically, this is around your personal goals right now, and anything that you've got going on. It may feel like things are just not working out the way that you had hoped that they were going to work out. And because of this, it's going to cause you to have a lot of negative stinking thinking things going on here in your brain, which of course, once that takes over, it causes a great difficulty, because you feel like maybe you just shouldn't do it. You're going to fail anyways. It creates this automatic need to completely shut yourself down, because emotionally you don't feel that you can do it, or you don't think that you can do it. Now, the good news, though, with this aspect is that even though the moon is in opposition with the sun, it's also forming beautiful aspects with Pluto and with Neptune this week. And these aspects are very helpful. They help take you out of that stinking thinking mode and remind you that that sort of thinking is not necessarily going to get you into a positive place. In fact, it is self-sabotage in big ways. So when we're talking about these aspects and how they're lining and how the moon is lining up with Neptune and with Pluto, these aspects are going to show you that yes, change is necessary. Maybe not welcome for a fixed sign, but change is necessary. Change in your perception and your belief in yourself is necessary. And when it comes to the moon's lineup with Neptune this week, it's all about what you do and not about what other people do. So when you feel like maybe people are not supportive of what it is that you're doing, or you're just not getting a lot of excitement from other people and what it is that you're doing, that doesn't matter. What matters is what you put into this particular project and what you want to get out of it. If you allow everybody else's support to come in, what can happen from time to time is everybody's got their own ideas on how it should be done. And so it confuses it, and it takes away your own natural what it is that you're putting into this project, and thus it makes it even more confusing. So you don't really want the support in this particular thing. This is a soul alone journey, and it's a soul alone journey for a reason, because this is for you, not for everybody else. So you guys gonna have to be brave this week to take this lone walk. But I tell you what, by the time it's done, you're gonna be a changed person for the better. And it doesn't matter what anybody has to say about that. So you guys have a great week with that. Gemini, this week, plans for the home are definitely on your mind this week. And when I'm talking about plans for the home, I'm talking about making the home exactly the way that you want it to be. Now, typical Geminis have a lot of things going on at one time. They got a lot of things going on here at one time. They need a space. They need a space that allows all of that to just be quiet for a few minutes. This is really necessary for Geminis, particularly because Geminis are such high thinkers and high doers and constantly have so many irons in the pot. They need this space to really just have some time to calm down. Now, unfortunately, as the moon comes into your sign a little bit towards the middle of this week, it is going to create some challenges as she moves into opposition with Venus, with Mercury, with Saturn. And as she's doing this, this creates some challenges for you, as it seems that as you want to focus on creating this space, everything else seems to be getting in your way and taking your focus away from that. And that, for a Gemini, is really frustrating. Believe it or not, even though Geminis can handle multiple things at one time, it's still frustrating when your focus is taken away by something or somebody else. But the good news is that you don't want to get too frustrated about some of these things that are taking the focus away, because some of these things are generating the money as the moon lines up with Jupiter in a very positive way. These delays are actually there to help you make the money in order to make the changes that you want to make. So when it comes down to it, delays are not always a bad thing. Sometimes they're a good thing. They're coming in to give you a little bit of a hand in creating what it is that you create, giving you the chance to be able to put more into this space than you originally had thought was possible. So this week, when you've got those delays going, don't worry about it. Try not to get too frustrated about it or too wrapped up in what it is that you're doing that you can't see the goodness coming out of these delays. Because trust me, these delays are good delays. They're really going to help you get what you want a lot faster. So you guys have a great week with that. Cancer, spending time with those that you love is necessary. It's necessary for you, it's necessary for them, it's necessary for everybody around you. And it's normally a perfect time for a Cancer. But sometimes those people that you love them so much, actually become part of the problem. And this week, when the moon comes into your sign and forms a cardinal grand cross for one day, just one day of madness with Jupiter and Uranus and Pluto, these people, love them as much of you as you can can be part of the problem, or it seems like they're part of the problem, as this cardinal grand cross and all of these planets are actually representing different parts of your life, not only giving but receiving that love back, not only taking care of them but taking care of yourself at the same time. And this cardinal grand cross on about Wednesday is going to feel like it throws everything out of balance, like you're doing for these people and not getting anything back, or you're just getting attitude back. Like you've been putting all this time into everybody else, but you're really feeling the strain on the parts of yourself that you've ignored. When you come to a point like this, it's really important. This is a big lesson for you guys. It's really trying to tell you something. And in this particular case, it's very loudly trying to tell you that you can only do so much for everybody else, but you need to do so much more for you. And this is the bottom line here with this particular aspect. It makes it very difficult for a reason. It creates these people acting this way for a reason, because it's reminding you that your whole life is not about others. It has a lot to do with you at the same time. And this is a difficult lesson for Cancers, because Cancers are just, it's their way to put this love out into everybody else, and of course put themselves on the back burner. Well, no one is going to put you on that front burner but you. And this week, that's what it's all about. Taking yourself off that back burner, putting yourself back on, and doing something for you. You need to do this for you, because like I said, nobody else is going to do it. So this week, when things get a little sticky, remember to take it not as a frustration because things aren't going your way or the way you think they should, but take it for what it is, as a reminder that you need to take care of you first and then everybody else later. It doesn't make you selfish. It makes you very smart, as a matter of fact, because when you think about it, how many times did people put the same amount of energy back into you that you put into them? Think about this. This is just how life is, and it's always how it's going to be. But it always comes back as a reminder that you've got to put you as a priority amongst all of these wonderful people that you love and care for. So you guys have a great week with that. Leo, this week it's all about your day-to-day activities. What are you focused on a day-to-day basis? Now, of course, most people are focused on the normal things, going to work, taking care of the kids, if you got kids, or the family, or whatever it is that you do on a day-to-day basis. But towards the end of the week this week, as the moon comes into your sign, you're going to see some little bit of wrenches in that schedule, which of course is very difficult for any fixed sign, because once you make that schedule, you want to stick to it. That's kind of how it works, right? But when you have delays come in and or different things that pop up out of nowhere, you need to be a little bit more mutable and a little less fixed, unfortunately. Now, these delays are going to happen, of course, as the moon moves into opposition with Mars. It is going to feel like some old ridiculousness is coming back to haunt you, and it's going to make you angry, unfortunately. We all have those things that come up, and when we remember back to the root of that situation, it makes us angry. And of course, it's making you angry for a reason, because that anger is still trapped inside of you, and it needs to come out. It needs to be embraced. It needs to be understood as to why you feel that way. And it needs to become a part of you in a healthy way, not an unhealthy way. Now, on top of that little difficulty, though, you have the moon lining up in a grand sextile with Saturn and Mercury and Jupiter. And this grand sextile is actually there to help you. This may be a wrench in your schedule and a little bit of a delay, but it's a good delay, because it's a delay that your job is going to make. It's a delay that your career is going to make. And it's actually a delay that is going to be very prosperous for you financially. So even though, let's just say, towards the end of the week, you're at work and you've got your whole schedule lined up and mapped out and everything, you've gone through this little difficulty that has made you angry, but all of a sudden they throw on your desk, I want you to rework your entire schedule and work only on this. Now, that may be really annoying because you've already got a plan going on, but you work on this. It's going to create more money for you in the long run and more success for you in the long run when you think about it. So don't look at every delay as a bad one, because the truth is some wrenches in your schedule are actually really good wrenches that maybe you didn't have planned out, but the universe has brought them to you to give you something that you really need. And how can anybody deny more success and more money in their career. Let's think about this, shall we? And you guys have a great week with that. Virgo, how about a little bit of a break? Because you're Virgo and you deserve it. That's what this week is all about for you guys. It's really a break in focus, which means that you don't have anything specifically to focus on or anything specific that's actually running the show for you astrologically. It means that you have an opportunity to take some time to pick your focus. Pick what you want to work on. Pick what resonates with your heart right now. Choose something that you've been wanting to work on that you just haven't had the time to work on. It's a beautiful opportunity for that, or doing nothing, just spending the time enjoying the break, which is always a nice thing. Now, of course, when I say take a break, I don't mean call your boss and tell your boss that the heavy metal psychic said, I've got a break this week, so I'm not coming into work. That's not going to work in your favor, obviously. If you've got responsibilities to take care of this week, you still must take care of them, just like everybody else. But a break is something that comes to you astrologically every day just to give you a little bit of a break from astrological and universal challenges and difficulties. So enjoy that time that you don't have to deal with these difficulties, because let's face it, you guys have had enough this year and it is your time to enjoy yourselves. So you guys have a great week with that. Libra, Jupiter's T-square with Uranus and Pluto this week is still going to be a challenge. And when the moon moves into opposition with Pluto and makes this a cardinal grand cross for a day, that challenge is going to be a little bit more difficult towards the middle of the week. Now, right now, Jupiter's influence is in your money and projects house. So we're talking about building finances and building dreams. And these particular aspects that you'll be dealing with this week are making it difficult because you feel like you're going through the same old hurdles over and over again, and you don't really feel like you're getting anywhere with them, which is really unfortunate and extremely frustrating, especially if you are in the business of making more money right now. It just feels like it's not happening, unfortunately. The good news, though, is that Jupiter's lining up with, in aspects, very positive aspects, I should say, with Mars, Saturn, and Mercury. Now, of course, Saturn and Mercury are in a spot where it's all about money, and it's talking about your career, and it's lining up with making money at that career. And Mars energy is about eliminating those old thought processes that are keeping you back. Now let's think about this for just a minute, because unfortunately I know a lot of Libras who do this. When you are dealt or faced with a situation, your brain automatically goes to some sort of self-sabotage or self-failureism thing inside your brain, and you are wasting your time on this process. Mars is saying, I've got the energy to eliminate this, and I'm trying to help you eliminate this. So let go of this anger. Let go of this frustration. Let go of this preconceived notion that you can only go so far and can't go any further than that. Now, a lot of these preconceived notions come from early adulthood. They come from childhood. They come from our family, our parents, or just regular people that we've known throughout our lives. And without realizing that they're doing this, they're imprinting these little preconceived ideas in you. And so, of course, you walk around thinking that this is law. You want to eliminate that law because it has nothing to do with you this week. Whether you have the challenges or not, you must face those challenges, overcome those challenges. And as a Libra that I know very well says, over it, under it, through it, or completely dismantle it, you got to get through that obstacle. And that's how you've got to do it. So this week, don't let the challenge take over. Don't let the challenge feed your negative stinking thinking thought process. Instead, be brave enough to let that stuff out and to look at where that actually came from and eliminate it so that you can move forward and do whatever it is that you want to do and make the money that you want to make, because there is no cap on how much money you can make. You can make as much as you want. So you guys have a great week with that. Scorpio, the sun is spending his last full week in your sign this week. So happy birthday to all of the Scorpios born this week. Make it a great big giant celebration, because you're also celebrating the sun leaving your sign, unfortunately. Now we got a couple of things going on with the sun in your sign this week, especially as it's very much around certain projects or certain goals that you have that you'd love to accomplish. And at the beginning of the week, when the moon is full, of course the moon is opposite your Scorpio sun at that time, and that creates a bit of a difficulty for you. Because sun-moon opposition, even though we need that for a full moon, it also creates a little bit of a head-heart imbalance for you there. And when the head and the heart is out of balance, it creates a conflict that can be very difficult for the individual, especially a Scorpio, who is very heart-driven most of the time. So when you are going through these situations that feel like the harder you work to get where you want to go, the more difficult it is to get there. You're definitely right about that. This aspect is telling you that you're going to deal with challenges, and the farther you go, the bigger the challenges are going to get. Now, a true successful person, or any person in history for that matter that has ever made a difference, and their name lives on in history because of it, they didn't just walk in there with a magic wand and say, here, let me fix this, and now you have heard of George Washington for the rest of your life. He didn't do that, actually. He denied the praise. He denied even wanting to be the first president of the United States. He denied all of the fanfare and everything, because that wasn't him. And he worked and worked and worked and put everything he had into his belief that this country here, America, could be great. Think about that for a minute. He was not born specifically to be the first president of the United States. He was not born specifically to lead the army to victory, or some of the armies to victory, as he did in the Civil War. He was just a man who believed in what he believed, and he did what his heart told him to do without thinking about it. This is what you need to do this week. Regardless of the opposition of your decision, regardless of anything that comes up, or any ways that anybody might attack what it is that you're doing and why. The truth is, you have to follow your heart and not the crowd. The crowd has no idea what is going on right now, but your heart does. And your mind is unfortunately trying to get in the way with the crowd and make you confused, and confuse your heart as to its ultimate purpose. This week, you have to work a little bit harder to make sure that your heart's voice is louder than this and everything else that's going on around you. Because honestly, the most successful person in the world is going to go through the biggest challenges. Only reason they make it to the top is because they smushed every single one like a bug. Think about that. And you guys have a great week with that. Sagittarius, Mercury moves into your sign this week, unfortunately joining Saturn in that squared position with Neptune, which is still there, but it is almost gone. It'll be gone by the end of this month, I promise, but it's only a temporary break, because unfortunately it will be back again probably about the beginning of next year, when Neptune moves direct again, unfortunately. But in the meantime, you are going to get a little bit of a break. But as Mercury joins this squared position with Saturn, which is really focused on your career right now, this negative aspect may have you feeling that you can't be yourself in order to do the job at hand. And that's really frustrating, because Sagittarians are well known for being Sagittarians. It's just who they are, right? Well, the thing is with this particular aspect is not to look at this as law, but to look at it for what it is, an illusion. And the illusion says you can't be yourself in order to get this job. But the reality is you must be yourself in order to get this job. Now, this is really defined by Saturn and Mercury's very positive aspects with Jupiter at this time, where and coming together, these planets coming together are showing you that not only is this a great career opportunity for you, but money is going to be made in this career opportunity. So things are opening up and lining up for you. But as always with life and everything that life represents, there's always a challenge in there somewhere. There's always something to scare you just enough to make you want to rethink your plans. And it's that rethinking, which direction that goes in, that will either make or break you. So don't get freaked out by the illusion, but embrace the possibility instead. Because this is really what's going to make you successful in the long run. And being Sagittarians, being open to the risk is definitely a good thing. And you guys pretty much have that in the bag. So you guys have a great week with that. Capricorn, while Pluto and Venus are both involved in this T-square between Uranus and Jupiter, towards the middle of the week as the moon moves into opposition with Pluto and Venus, unfortunately this becomes the cardinal grand cross instead of a smaller difficult aspect, unfortunately, making it just a little bit more difficult for 1 week out of this week, unfortunately. Now, when we're talking about these types of difficulties and the cardinal energy that goes into them, what it means is whatever it is that you're focused on, and cardinal signs want to get moving, they want to get things done, they want to see progress happen, you're not going to see the amount of progress that maybe you would expect to see. And of course that is going to be frustrating. It's always frustrating when that happens for anybody, but especially for cardinal signs that really want to see things get done. So this week, during this particular difficulty, which is going to make you feel a lot like you're dealing with past obstacles that you thought you had already dealt with in many different ways, and it's also affecting your finances, which is not an easy thing for a Capricorn to deal with. What it really comes down to is how much support do you need at this time. Now it's going to feel like you don't have any support, which is really, really frustrating. But at the same time, this situation is all about you. It's about what you are willing to create. It's about what you are willing to put into it. And it's about the love and support that you have for yourself and the project at hand. So this week, try not to look at the challenge as something that's out to defeat you, because it's not out to defeat you. It is, however, out to teach you something. It's there in order to help you grow. It's there in order for you to understand just how much power you really truly do have, even though sometimes you feel like you don't have it. And it also is there to teach you just how powerful you are standing on your own, because you don't need to lead an army in this particular case. You just have to keep staying the course and doing what it is that you need to do in order to be successful. So you guys have a great week with that. Aquarius, with Mars in your sign this week, you're definitely going to be feeling some anger issues coming up. And we're talking specifically about some old anger issues coming up, which is not necessarily anything that any Aquarian that I know, myself included, is going to want to deal with. But it is a part of life. We all have those things that make us up, those experiences that happen that we are holding on to with anger, unfortunately. And these situations are coming up for a reason. Whether we like the process or not is really irrelevant to the universe. The universe doesn't care if you like it. The universe only cares what you do with it. This week, when these old anger patterns come up, it's really time for you to take a look at them and understand them. Understand what made you angry about the situation. Believe it or not, this understanding of what made you angry is powerful, because when you do understand the root of the anger, you also understand how to eliminate that anger coming back in other situations later on. And it really is a powerful thing. Now, also on top of that, Mars is lining up in a beautiful trine with Jupiter. And Jupiter is sitting in the house of money, ready to expand on that money, giving you an opportunity to make some more money. Now, can you really put together old anger with making more money? Absolutely, because it's that anger that has been keeping you from making that money all this time. Releasing accepting and understanding that anger gives you the power to be able to let go of some of those things that have been holding you back and open up this beautiful path in front of you that says, you know what? I can do even more than I'm already doing. And that is where true power comes from. So this week, be brave and look at that anger, look at that root, it bravely, with courage, preparing yourself to eliminate that root for good and move on to a position where you're stepping into even more power. So you guys have a great week with that. And finally, Pisces, Neptune's square with Saturn and now Mercury is going to be a bit of a difficulty for you guys, as it makes you feel like as you're trying to move forward in a specific career goal, it seems like you being you is just not the way to go. Like you have to change who you are in order to achieve those goals that you want to achieve. Now this is very annoying, unfortunately, and it does make you feel like you're not good enough for the job, but you don't want to go there this time. The good news is that Neptune's lining up with Pluto in a very positive way, reminding you that you are the change that needs to happen in this particular situation. And though that is a very difficult position to be in for any human being, it doesn't mean that you can't do it either. It's all about you right now. It's all about the power that you create right now. It's all about the power that you have in your hands right now. And when it comes to stepping into that power, yes, you do have to change some things. We're not talking about changing your personality, and we're not talking about changing who you are. But what we are talking about is eliminating some of those negative tendencies that you have of self-sabotage. Those things do need to be eliminated in order for you to step into that power, because let's face it, those things make us feel like we have no power. It's time for you guys to put yourselves in a position where you realize just how much power you do have. And Pisces power is very powerful. You're talking about all 12 signs in one sign here, because that's what a Pisces is. You've got more power than you think. And this week, it's time for you to really step into that power and see what you're made of. You can make a difference, but you have to learn to deal with things in a different way, because the way you've been dealing with it is not working. So you guys have a very powerful and great week with that. Thanks so much for watching the horoscopes this week. I'm Melissa Bruce, the Heavy Metal Psychic. Don't forget to check out that 13-card tarot for 2017. We've only got about 5-6 weeks left, and then the reading is gone and not available anymore until next September when we start 2018's reading. So make sure you get your orders in ASAP. It's really simple, people. It's $50 for a single. It's $75 for a couple's reading. They're absolutely amazing. I've been doing them for 6 or 7 years. People that have been getting them all this time do not go into the next year without their reading. This is how powerful and how amazing these readings are. So you guys definitely want to get them. Again, I'm Melissa Bruce, the Heavy Metal Psychic. Thank you so much for watching and hanging with me this week. And I'll see you guys next week. In the meantime, have a great week, everybody.